A man I've just met has his fingers in my pussy. I'm lying on my back, my head nestled in his lap while he presses inside me, adding to my wetness. And we're in the lobby of the Atlanta airport at 3 in the morning. I promise I didn't plan for any of this. I've just left Miami after doing a reading, seeing old friends, and making friends with an adorable 4-year-old. I get off the plane from Miami to make my connecting flight, and seeing that I have 2 hours to kill, proceed to slaughter most of them. When there's half an hour to go, I rush off, quickly eat some food, and then head to my gate, but I'm too late. The Atlanta airport is really spread out, so if you're ever there, go to your gate right away. You have to take a train. I've missed my flight, and it turns out there aren't any others back home until the next morning. I'm more than a little familiar with airline mishaps. The last time I flew coming home from London, I was delayed for a day because I was flying on an expired passport. So I park myself and my bulging bags down in a nearby gate and start to read. After a few minutes, a very cute guy wearing jeans, an orange and white striped shirt, and dark blue hoodie sits down across from me. "You were trying to get on the flight to LaGuardia, right?" he asks in a sexy accent. I tell him my sad story, and he tells me that he's visiting New York from Costa Rica for 5 days and is also waiting for a flight. He's sweet, and we converse in a mix of Spanish and English before getting a snack, then parking ourselves in front of CNN at a far gate. He's undeniably cute, and I'm tempted to invite him to have lunch with me while he's in town, but I don't. He doesn't wear a ring, but I know he has a young son, so I refrain from asking if he's married. I lend him my heavy winter coat, which he drapes across his lap while I try to fashion a pillow out of my bag, but can't quite fall asleep, or even zone out. I'm too distracted by the droning of CNN giving election returns and his nearness. He hasn't hit on me yet in any way, but lying down near him in such a deserted area, I can feel his body heat. "Can I use your shoulder?" I ask, and try to rest my head there, to no avail. "Here," he says, patting his lap, and I rest against my coat while he puts one arm protectively around my shoulder. I've been cold, but his body heat warms me and sends tingles of excitement coursing down lower. I know I'm wet, but still I wonder if we're just doing a bit of platonic cuddling. I listen to the latest recap of the Clinton and Obama race, hear Christiane Amanpour report from a historic concert in North Korea, and hear about a new raw version of Pepsi. I shut my eyes, and his fingers clasp mine in his lap. He squirms, and I wonder if his cock is hard beneath his coat. A few cleaning people have clattered by with their carts, but those sounds have now faded as the heart of the night settles in just like we have. I swallow hard and deliberately don't look at him. His fingers play with mine like we're in a movie theater, stroking my palm, squeezing. I squeeze back to let him know that I like it and that I'm paying attention. I know we're no longer being platonic, but I just lie still because really, what can we do right out here in public? This isn't a letter like the ones we publish in my magazine, Penthouse Variations, where we'd be heading off into a bathroom and fucking our brains out. And yet that's precisely what we become as he starts to stroke my hair. I let him brush against my forehead, get used to the warmth of his skin on mine. When lying down feels too uncomfortable, I sit up and we finally kiss. His lips are big, covering mine, and he bites my lip in a way that lets me know he's a man who's good with his tongue. I lick along his neckline, then run my tongue along his earlobe, and he moans, something nonverbal but that still comes tinged with his accent. I pinch the back of his neck, and then trace my fingers along his back, relishing the muscle I find there. I kiss his neck, brush mine against his. I kiss his cheek, brush mine against his to enjoy the stubble. "You're gorgeous," he tells me, and I smile against his neck. I can't look at him too much, lest I be reminded of the madness of what we're doing. This is the kind of thing I'd have done 10 years ago, during my wildest streak, not something I should be doing now when I'm supposed to be more mature. And yet he feels and smells and tastes too good to stop. I'm too nervous to make out for long, lest we draw the wrong kind of attention. I'm an exhibitionist in some ways, but not in others, and I like having at least some semblance of privacy with him, so I return to my perch draped across his lap, my coat the perfect shield for whatever naughtiness we may get up to. I'm wearing jeans with a black dress over them and a fuzzy gray hoodie that I would wear every day if I could. His arm that's been draped across me now goes from my wrist and my arm, pushing up higher and higher until he's at the elastic of my sleeve, on my upper arm. I shift a little and he moves the coat out from under me and drapes it atop both of us. I move from my side to my back and look up at him. He works at a travel agency, and I know because he's told me that he's not from here, but he looks almost exactly like the guys who populate my Williamsburg neighborhood, with the skull cap he's put on to stay warm, the dark, thick glasses, the stubble, and iPod Nano tucked into his shirt pocket. His fingers move my low-cut dress aside, then my bra, pinching my nipple until I look away, back to CNN. If anyone walks by, I want them to think I'm curled up against my boyfriend to stay warm and pass the time, while I stay riveted to breaking world news, rather than having a man whose last name I don't know play with my nipple. Do you like that, he asks as he pinches it hard. He has no idea that I love to have my nipples bitten, have bought clamps for lovers to use on them, have asked for my breasts to be spanked. He doesn't know that my nipples have always been beyond sensitive, and I like that he clues into this quickly. He tugs numerous times in rapid succession, and I blush and don't look at him when he speaks to me, lest that give away our secret. And then he shifts gears, moving the coat around so it covers me to my knees. His hand goes between my legs, and I don't stop him. It feels like it's been forever since anyone even cuddled with me, let alone wanted to touch me there. Just before my trip to Miami, I went for an overdue wax, leaving the salon feeling like I wanted someone to feel the results of the waxer's work, but figuring it'd just be my little secret. But now I get to share my sleekness with him, and I'm so glad, because I never feel as sensual. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Like sweating up here. And I'm so glad, because I never feel as sensual as when all but a strip of hair is removed, leaving me open, my wetness right there to access. And him too, apparently, because he makes quick work of the button of my jeans and then the zipper. Soon his fingers are inside my very sticky panties, then inside me, too, to start. If we were really alone, with a bed all to ourselves, I might ask him to pull my hair, to tilt my head back while he probes my wetness. I might ask him to take me over his knee and spank me. I might ask him to let me swallow his fingers, practically choke on them. But since we're in the Atlanta airport, bright lights blazing all around us, I hardly say a word. I look at him in awe at his boldness, and he pulls out and runs his fingers along me, and then plays with my clit with one strong finger. I'll admit to my own, I'm like reading ahead because I didn't read this before, and I'm like, do I want to read that? I'll admit to my own prejudice, or perhaps stereotype, that I had imagined him to be more of a wham bam, thank you ma'am type of lover, the kind of guy who thinks about his dick first, second, and third, and if a girl's lucky, maybe her pussy fourth. Yet he affects me with as much intensity as anyone has. Do you want to scream, he asks, when my breathing starts coming faster. The good girl in me thinks maybe we should stop, but when he slams his fingers into me, I forget about that. Nobody's around, and even if they were, all they'd see was a couple huddled under a coat waiting for their plane. Any more salacious thoughts would only reveal their dirty minds. I nod my head in answer to his question, too embarrassed to tell him that I'd really love to be down on my knees with his dick in my mouth. That would probably make me come, especially if he continued to finger me while I sucked him off. But even though he's initiated this, I can't bring myself to tell him, so I just nod and occasionally whisper as he works his magic fingers on me.